Well, if it isn't the Champagne Rugby Podcast, it is. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It is the Champagne Rugby Podcast. Welcome to, as I've said now twice, the Champagne Rugby Podcast. My name is Tony Lyall, and I'm joined in this beautiful Export Beer Garden studio by Sam Smith. Sam, how are you going?
I'm very well, thank you. What is this podcast again? I forget what the name of it is.
It's called the Champagne Rugby Podcast.
Oh, that's good. That's a good name for a podcast.
And it is the Export Beer Garden studio, Sam. And you've heard of Export, eh?
What?
You've heard of Export. You know Export?
Yeah, like when you send things overseas.
No, like the Export, the beer. They've actually just released a new low-carb beer, Export Ultra. And
low-carb?
It's bloody refreshing. And if you're in Auckland this weekend, you'll be one of the first to try the new crisp drop. Because ACC, the good characters are here at ACC. They're hosting the Ultra pre-game party down at the Kingston Bar before the Blues and the Waratahs game, 7:05 at Eden Park, that game, obviously. And you can go down to Kingston from 4 to 6:30 on Saturday, the 22nd of April, to get amongst it. And there's a bunch of ACC stuff there. You can go shake some hands with some of your favourite wounders, and you can text Ultra to 3236 to go on the draw to win a table for 5 of you and your mates, plus $150 food and bevy voucher, and 5 tickets to the game. There's so much stuff gets stuck in there. Thanks to the guys at Export with Export Ultra. That's a good beer. I don't know if that's the slogan, but it sounds pretty good to me.
That should be the slogan. That's a great slogan. That's a good beer.
Yeah. That's a good beer. Text Ultra to 3236. Again, I'm coming from the mobile Export Beer Garden studio over in Melbourne. I'm parked up over here for the Melbourne Comedy Festival, but due to the amazing power of the internet, I'm able to channel in. And
right to me here in the very stationary Export Garden thing.
Is there a lot of pads and paper and pens where you are?
Oh my God, there is so much. Look, I'm covered in pens. There's some blooming Export Gold right there. It's just early in the morning. I've got 1,000 pens. It's a great time.
That was a little stationary joke there for you.
I did not pick up on that. I'll be honest with you. And now, well done. Very good.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with that.
I can see why you're a professional comedian, Tony Lyall. Yeah. Speaking of which I've seen, I've been following you on Twitter on your wonderful journey in the Melbourne Comedy Festival. You've had some great audiences this week.
Well, I have and I haven't, Sam. Appreciate the harshness in your voice there. Yeah, it's interesting doing comedy in a city where you literally know no one. You get a decent crowd one night, and then the next night you get 2 people. But the show must go on, Sam.
I tell you what, buddy, this is to all the listeners out there, if you ever go to a comedy show and you're one of the only 2 people in the crowd, that's going to be a great show. You are getting 100% of the attention for that whole hour. It's going to be intense, but you are going to get your money's worth.
Yeah, we had a great time in the end, but obviously not ideal for anyone, really. So, hey, if you're in Melbourne, swing on through. And if you're in New Zealand, we'll see you in a couple of months. No, don't fly over. No, that's outrageous. Stay in New Zealand. The New Zealand Comedy Festival is next month, so you can come and see the show then. You might as well get some tickets now at comedyfestival.co.nz. Geez, that's an early plug. An unusually early plug.
I'm doing warm up for the 7 days live show as well, which is, I believe, next week. Is that right?
Well, I simply do not know, Sam, but it sounds like something you should.
Yeah, I think it's next week, so that'll be good. Sky City. Oh, fun times.
Oh, that sounds like a ball. Hey, speaking of fun times, should talk about some rugby union football.
Love it. I know it. I've been watching some over the weekend, Tony.
I watched some on the weekend as well. And let's start by talking about the game that we had some money on. We had our TAB good punt on this, the Chiefs versus the Fijian and Drua. Not the Chiefs. I've lost my marbles. The Reds versus Moana Pacifica.
The mighty Moana Pacifica. We picked them to win 13 plus, the old MP. And did they do that, Tony Lyall? No. They went down 13 plus. So they really let us down there. But it was their first game in Samoa, and I think they played pretty bloomin' well, actually. The Reds got a couple of cheeky things in there, I think. An intercept try that broke my heart.
Yeah, that was tough.
Oh man, it's one of those ones where if they had not, they were Moana Pacifica were going to score. It was going to be great. It was going to bring the scores level at 21 apiece. Instead, intercept try, they bolt down. It's what they call a 14-pointer, that try. Man, heartbreaking.
Every time when I hear someone be like, that's a 14-point try, in my head I'm like, wow, no, it's not. It's only 7 points.
Oh, okay. I see.
It's only 7 points. You can't just make things up. You can't make up a scenario in which the Moana Pacific are going to score a try. You've lost your mind. You've gone mad with power, Sam Smith, and I simply will not accept it.
Tony Lyall, I will fight you to the death about this. This is maths. This is my wheelhouse. If they had scored a try, they would have got 7 points, but they didn't. They had a try scored against them. 7 plus 7, it's 14. That's a 14-pointer try. Easy maths. If we're finding this, you come back here and I'll beat the shit out of you, my friend.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Can't argue with that. The score was 28-40, so not quite 13 plus, Sam. Sorry to nitpick, but let's not forget that I initially said it was...
Oh, you're right. It was 12 and under. Yes, you're right.
And I initially did say it was the Chiefs versus the Ndrua. So we've all been wrong.
So not only was we didn't even get the margin right.
I got both the teams wrong. I read the wrong line on my little sheet. Have you never been wrong before? Have you never been wrong before?
That thing mixing up the thing is literally the first thing I've ever done wrong in my entire life.
Oh, how'd it feel?
It was quite freeing, actually. I feel like there's a weight off my shoulder and now I can get heaps of more things wrong. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
And the game, obviously, in Apia, it looked like the classic game that they have been playing over in the islands where just what a time to be alive. The commentators, they lean into it. There's Hawaiian shirts galore. It really does. And I know they say it 1,000 times throughout the broadcast, but they do love to say that it's a carnival atmosphere and that it's one of the most amazing games you can go to.
Yeah.
But I do have to agree. It does look like a fun vibe to go and play over there. And history is made over in Samoa on the weekend. Impressive to see. And just a shame that Moana Pacifica shat the bed really and didn't allow our bet to come through.
See, I think the Reds are to blame here. I think these are the guys. See, it's been a big week for the Reds because Brad Thorne, my beloved Brad Thorne, former Crusader, former Highlander, who now coaches the Reds, will no longer coach the Reds at the end of the season. He's announced that he's heading off. He's going somewhere.
Did he announce where he's going to?
Not that I know, but mate, he's a Crusader. Is he going to join Razor at the All Blacks team?
I don't imagine he has a sort of winning record that would allow him to become an All Blacks coach, being at about 6% with the Reds since he started.
But Brad Thorne is a freaking legend. And Razor, man, he's all about what's that word for when you like gather people together and they all they have a nice environment and they're all like supportive and kind and cool. He's all about the team atmosphere. That's what he's about.
I don't think Brad Thorne is known for being kind or cool. I think he's more known for being an absolute hard ass. Isn't that why Quade Cooper left the Reds back in the day?
Oh, he wasn't keen. Quade Cooper's an absolute jerk.
Hey. This is a positivity zone.
Tony Lyall, I will fight you if you come over here. Quade Cooper, if you come here, I will fight you as well.
This is the second time you've threatened to fight me in the space of about 6 seconds.
I will fight everyone. If anyone comes down here, I will fight them right here and now.
Form a queue outside the Export Beer Garden studio because
look, I may be blind and I may have MS, but I've had half a hot chocolate, so I'm powered up this morning and I am ready to biff someone right in the noggin.
Oh, half a hot chocolate will do that to you 100% of the time. Brad Thorne as well. One thing I notice about him when I'm watching, they cut to the coach's box and he's sitting there, always in a hat, and he just must have the biggest head, maybe in the world ever. His head is so large. I think he's got that hat on the last connection in terms of the strap on the back.
Yeah, right. Well, it's probably because he's tackled 1 million people in his life, and he's probably just got a big swollen head constantly, like I presume most rugby players do.
I once saw him in the street in Dunedin and he was wearing a basketball singlet, and I've never seen a musclier man. Just his arms coming out like, you just can imagine the pecs and the cum gutters he's running. Like it's just, he is a specimen completely.
The pecs and the pecs and the
gutters.
Yeah, cool. And I'm glad that you called them by their full appropriate term.
I'm not here to mince words, Sam. Yeah. This is a hard-hitting.
That's great. I love you talking about the size of people's heads, where all I could see of you right now is you're taking up roughly 6% of the screen. Your head is very tiny and small, right down the bottom, like you're a strangely bald 4-year-old child with a beard.
Oh, well, that's unnecessarily hurtful. And, for the listener at home who cannot see what you're talking about.
That's great.
Strangely alienating. But back to the game, the Reds, what a absolute bunch of party poopers, as you said. Like, they could have just gone ahead and lost that. It would have been fine.
They're not doing anything with their season 8. Like, just let MP have a dig at it,
Well, it did bounce them up to 6th in the table. So, they're in the 8.
But the Reds, right?
Yeah, but the Reds with a hearty 3 wins out of 8 games, the Reds.
I do want to give a shout out to Harry Wilson for the Reds. He's doing great stuff. He's got the name of a 90-year-old man, but he is playing like a 23-year-old man.
Sam, I don't want to drag you into this, but isn't your son called Harry?
Yes, he's called Harry Smith, which is also exactly why we call him that, because it's a name that kids can have, and then middle-aged people can have, and then old people can have. It's a perfect name for all ages.
You thought of the longevity of the name? I don't think enough people do that. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah.
People, and I don't want to, shit on anyone's name here, but, if you're calling your son Diesel or something like this, then when they get to be like 80, you're like, hello, you're in the nursing home, and they're like, can I get a coffee for Diesel? Doesn't make sense. Madness.
I feel like Diesel is a great name for an old person. That's Diesel is a guy that's got some mad dog stories that you could. Oh man, if you ever want to hang out with a guy and hear about how he slashed someone's tires just because he wanted to, that guy's going to be called Diesel.
Yeah, I'd say Diesel has some real incriminating evidence in the back of his cupboard about something he did when he was 18 that he's
got Nazi memorabilia back there. Diesel does.
Yeah, well, it's just a signed copy of Mein Kampf, all right? It's nothing too bad.
Man, he should sell that because that'd be worth a lot.
It would be worth a lot.
A lot of money.
Which is a scathing indictment.
Speaking of which, I do believe it was Adolf Hitler's birthday this week.
Oh, wow.
And I know that because when I went to Otago University, at the toilets there, someone had scrawled on the wall, I think it's April 17th, but that might not be right. No, I know what I'm thinking of. Or scrawled on the wall, it said, happy 117th birthday, Adolf Hitler. And I thought that was a very funny thing to scrawl on the toilet walls at Castle One Lecture Theatre.
Oh, yeah, that's... It's certainly something. 20th of April, so it's actually
tomorrow.
Right about the time this is going to come out.
Happy birthday, Hitler! You're a piece of shit. And you made the world a terrible place.
Oh wow! I mean, I'll say this: when we started the podcast about rugby, at no stage did I imagine that at one point would I hear my co-host say "Happy birthday, Hitler." But here we are.
There's a player in Super Rugby whose surname is Hildebrand. That's getting close. That's getting close.
Yeah, am I right in saying there's a player in the game? Someone called Drinkwater plays for one of the team, and I always think to myself when I hear his name, what is going on with this name? Like this sounds like it's been made up too recently. Like there's no way that this goes back hundreds of thousands of years.
Like because it used to be an occupation, right? Like these are just guys who drank water. That was what they did for a living.
Smith, you were obviously like a blacksmith.
Well, no, there are the blacksmiths and goldsmiths, and they make stuff out of black things and gold things. And then Smiths, we make stuff out of nothing. So we're like magicians and shit. It's awesome.
Yeah, and then obviously Taylor, and then there's some guy over here just sculling water.
Shit, man. That's a frickload of water.
I drink a lot of water, but this guy, holy moly, he is whipping it back.
What's a Lyall? What does Lyall go back to?
Well, it goes back to a different word, and this is borderline boring. Leal, Leil, which is an old Scottish word.
Oh.
And so that was the name. And then when we came across and were...
Oh, buddy, you're making it boring by telling us the whole history of it.
Conquered by the English. They changed the name to Lyall when it became a written down name.
If you could just get to the point.
Well, you asked, shithead.
Yeah. This is my biggest regret.
The minor Pacifica obviously going down to
and you're still not going to tell us what Lyall means?
No, it doesn't mean anything. It's just an old Scottish word.
Yeah, cool. You could have just said that. All right.
I thought it was interesting that it used to be Lyall, a different word, and then when it became a written language and they put it on paper spelling it wrong. So basically, I like to imagine that they were lining up and they was like, what's your name? And they said Lyall in a Scottish voice. Lyall. And they just wrote Lyall, and the guy was like, yeah, good enough. Yeah.
It sounds like you lie all the time. Oh, so maybe you're from a family of lawyers. Comedy!
Yeah,
comedy time.
There.
Got you.
All
good.
Right, we'll take a quick break and come back with the rest of the games in a minute. Yeah, let's talk about the other games now. Brumbies versus the Drua, 43-28. And I mean, it kind of went the way it was going to go. The Brumbies are a good team. They won almost. The less said about this game, the better, Sam.
Yeah. Oh, I will say one thing. Very nice moment at the end of the game on Twitter. We shot of I saw Nick White talking to the halfback of the Drua, whose name has slipped my mind just currently. But they were fully chatting about the game, tactics. You could see them miming some moves. Nick White, 32-year-old Nick White, was definitely giving out some advice to him, which is a lovely thing to see. Good stuff. Yeah. Spread the knowledge. Players teaching players. Oh, it's the secret to coaching.
Yeah, Penny Matawalu was there. He looked like he was getting taught a lesson. It was a nice thing to see. I was trying to work out what he was actually saying, though. It sounded like he was just sort of saying, stand up and then fend him off and then run. And you're like, he probably knew that, to be fair.
There was a big old pushing motion in there that definitely looked like he was trying to destroy someone, really bully someone at the back of that scrum.
Yeah, but you're right. It is nice to see players imparting knowledge at the end of games. And I think, everyone can take a little bit of that into their life. And, whatever you are, when you're listening to this, maybe at work tomorrow, just really give someone some unsolicited advice. Yeah. Just start telling them how to do their jobs. And you'll be the good guy.
Yeah, Tony Lyall, you're a professional comedian. What advice do you have for all the comedians out there who just need a little, some tactic advice from someone like yourself?
Well,
what would you say?
Push someone over.
Yep,
that's my
absolutely.
first thing.
Get up that ladder, then kick that ladder away. You do not want people following after you.
It took me a second there to realize you were being a metaphoric. I thought you were literally talking about kicking a ladder out from under someone.
That's from my window cleaning days. I learned that tactic.
Every now and again, you got to kill a window cleaner. That's
you got it.
It goes without saying. And we could probably park that game and move on to the game of the round, the big game that everyone was looking forward to. It is, of course, the Hurricanes against the Chiefs. And
Chiefs need to get a better song. Hurricanes, yeah. Chiefs. I suppose
it's hard to chant.
If you can make the sound of a cowbell going, then that's pretty cool.
Ding, yeah. Ding, ding, ding. And it was top of the table clash. A lot of people thought the Hurricanes were going to get up, but unfortunately they got down and they lost 17-33. The Chiefs making hard work of it, but in the end, looking relatively comfortable and pulling away. And, geez, what a absolute ding-dong of a game it was, Sam.
It was very much so. The Canes looking pretty good in the first half. Tends to be the thing. And then just at the end, the Chiefs, bang, 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 1,000 tries, made them look like absolute piss.
Yeah, and especially scoring a try right at the end after a yellow card. The Hurricanes were hot on attack for it seemed like 2 hours.
Yeah.
The Chiefs got a player sent off. But I'm going to put something out there. I think the Chiefs are super lucky not to lose someone way earlier. They're so happy to hand out yellow cards this season in Super Rugby. And then for some reason in this game, the Chiefs were infringing. And they even got a double blast of the whistle. And he just said, next time you're off. And there'd already been about 4 next times. I thought, geez, the Chiefs are getting a little bit of this Richie McCaw rub here where
wait a second, you watch it. Richie McCaw never did anything bad. I will come over there and I will fight you, Tony Lyall.
Sam, you simply have to get another way to impart your opinion.
I'm so sorry. It's only physical violence. It's the only thing I have.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You are
I'm an intimidating
notorious. Man. Yeah. But yeah, I thought they were so lucky not to get a yellow card earlier, and that could have potentially changed the game.
Totally.
And I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not against not handing out yellow cards willy-nilly. Like, it should be for something bad. But I just hope we see that for the rest of the season, a reluctance to yellow card everyone for the simplest of indiscretions, which is what seems to have happened so far. Bring in more.
I reckon they should bring in a dunce's cap. The one player, if you do something bad, you're not sent off, but you have to wear maybe like a walrus. You have to wear the mascot for your team. You have to wear the mascot outfit for your team if you do a red card offence, so everyone can see you very clearly, and then they can destroy you on the field. That's a great idea.
And you also have to be Winnie the Poohing. You're not allowed to wear any pants underneath.
That's right. Oh,
so the mascot outfit up top, completely nude from the waist down. Everything's sort of slapping in the breeze.
Yeah, great.
I think that really
would get the viewers in. It's a great idea.
It would get the viewers in, and it would get the kids out, which I think is...
They're ruining the game.
Yeah, you all know how I feel about the kids round a few weeks ago. So, yeah, I think some genital viewing would go down a treat.
Insert segue here, but Cam Roygaard's still playing really great.
Yeah, well, he missed a few tackles, and he did look pretty good, though. You will say that.
He's scoring tries, man. He's that halfback jersey. I don't think the main one. I think he may be a bolter for the old ABs. Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I think his time will come. I think that he will be looking like we've got Aaron Smith about to retire. I don't know if Brad Weber's sticking around. I feel like there'll be a couple of guys who float off instantly after the World Cup. So I think the All Blacks will say, just, you're young, you're keen, you're good. It seems pretty clear that he's decent. So his time will come, but unless there's some serious injuries in the AB's camp in France, I think that he will be at home just pumping weights. Apparently he squats 200 kilograms, and that seems like too many kilograms.
Wow-wee. That's heaps.
That's heaps.
Why would you ever need to do that much?
Professional rugby player, I guess.
But he's a halfback.
Yeah.
He's not much less than what the biggest props in the world do. Like,
yeah, it is certainly a lot. And a lot was Damian McKenzie. A lot has been made since then about him potentially in the All Blacks 10 jersey. He seemed to put on a bit of a clinic. He seems to just be a better, more complete player now. And he was running the team around. He was marshalling the troops, really making it look easy. And I wonder, what do you think, Sam? Could he potentially bump Richie Mo'unga out of that?
I don't think he's bumping Richie, but he's great. Like I think Richie will be there this year, I think, and then it'll D-Mac next year onwards. Surely.
Yeah. I was excited by just thinking of him on the bench. Him on the bench, a tired defense. I mean, it's sort of where he will
carve them up like a roast dinner.
He really will. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think we really missed him in that last World Cup.
Absolutely.
Just that elusiveness that he has. And he comes on and he changes the game. And I mean that literally, not like a cliche. Like, he comes on and just his energy and speed, it always spices the rice.
Yeah.
And we had no rice spicer.
Yeah, we need a rice spicer.
Someone's got to spice the rice. Yeah. And I'm not talking in a sort of Susie in South Africa way.
Oh, yeah, wow. Do you reckon that's how they did it, with rice?
They certainly might have. A couple of other big players, Samisoni Takiaho, absolutely beast.
Did we talk about the fact that he signed to NZRU until 2027?
Yeah, it's a real treat.
Oh, it's great. Look at that stability. He'll be around. He's fantastic.
Yeah, Rico Ioane as well, signing again for till 2027, which I think I was genuinely surprised by that one. I'm stoked to see it, and I think it really, hopefully, just leads to him becoming a bit of a store in the centres for the ABs.
Totally.
We've got potentially a number 13 here. He's only young. He can play for...
Sorry, are you tired, buddy? Are you boring yourself?
I bored myself there. I bored myself.
We should point out, as early morning where you are overseas, you have got out of bed early to podcast with us today. So,
yeah, I was up late, bloody slapping back exports with the boys. So
good man.
You know how it is. But no, I'm excited that Rico Ioane's saying, and Samasoni Takiaha for that matter, two big, they're probably the joint high try scorers of the All Blacks, the hooker and the centre.
Doesn't it blow your mind that, like, I'm thinking back to when we were teenagers and stuff. Did a forward ever score a try?
Maybe a number 8 would score a try off the back of a scrum.
Owen Franks scored no tries in 1,000 games for the All Blacks and the Crusaders. No, he scored one final one at the end, I think. And and then we've got, Cody Taylor 2 years ago was the top try scorer for all of Super Rugby. It's a changing world we live in, Tony Lyall.
Yeah, I had a dream about Cody Taylor last night.
Sexy one?
Strange stuff. I listened to a podcast that he was on, and he infiltrated my dream. And in the dream, I just complimented him on the podcast, and he was very receptive to the compliment. So if you're out there, Cody Taylor, sorry about dreaming about you. But what can I say? You're a great guy.
He'll be stoked. He'll be stoked.
Speaking of feedback from rugby players, Richie Mo'unga, he's the fan of the pod. He listened in and heard us basically lavishing praise all over him. So, Richie, he reached out and said, thanks, boys. I love your work. So,
where did he say that?
Just a cheeky DM.
Did he actually?
Yeah.
Oh, Tony, this is a great moment for me. I love Richie Mo'unga. This is like Christmas. Sam's
genuinely giggling like a little schoolgirl. I've never seen him like this.
He is, I love him. I want to be his best friend. It'll be weird because I'm a bit older than him, but
I do think you're coming on a little strong here.
Okay, I'll take it.
Maybe let's just
good on you, Richie. Thanks for listening, mate. Really appreciate it. Was that better?
Yeah, it wasn't worse.
Oh.
Peter Gus Sowakula as well.
Oh, amazing.
What a guy. Amazing. I love you. You saw it up in the Fozzie up in the stands watching the game, obviously with his eye on a couple of key players, and Peter Gus just really shoving it up his backside that he was dropped from the All Blacks by. Absolutely devastating. So many players with ball in hand. Jeez, he was looking handy. And I wonder, is a comeback on the cards for Peter Gus?
That'd be cool. I always think when the coaches are up in the stands, how can they see? They'd be better watching on a TV, right?
Well, I guess they can see the same way that all the other fans see when you go to a game.
Oh, I forget other people aren't legally blind like me.
Yeah. I didn't want to bring it up, really, to be honest. I was trying to avoid mocking your disability, but I guess they like it as well because they're kind of seeing the wider picture. Like they're seeing what people are doing off the ball. They're seeing what people are doing around the place, and they're obviously seeing those big moments as well. But maybe it gives them a more rounder perspective. But I did wonder that. He's just in the stands like any old chump. I did think maybe he'd want to be near a tally, or we could watch a couple of highlights as well. Maybe, even watch an episode of Home and Away or something if he gets a bit bored. I mean, he must have seen a lot of rugby games at this point.
By the time you get to be the All Blacks coach, I reckon you've seen at least 20 games.
You've seen at maybe least. Even and whole games too. You can't just watch half and then skive off.
Yeah, you're not just watching the highlights of the game. You were invested. I wonder what snacks he gets at the stadium.
I wondered the same thing. I was thinking he was double dogging it.
Yeah,
he was getting a one of the wieners, the Fritz's wieners.
Oh my god!
And of course, when you get a Fritz wiener, you can get you can get two wieners, double dog. Put it in the middle, line them down, double dog wienering, which is pretty yuck to see on TV if it cut to a shot of Ian Foster and he was just
fully deep-throating a double dog.
If he was deep-throating a double dog, I think viewership would probably go up, to be honest.
That's right. That's what we need. We need yellow cards being replaced by the players winning the pooing wearing top half of their mascot. Because the coach needs to deep-throat a double dog probably every game, maybe one in each half. Just to get the viewers in there, locked into the entertainment.
And the good news is we've certainly got the name for today's episode. That is Deep Throated Double Dog. It sounds good. It feels even better. And we have talked about Damian McKenzie being great as well. But can we just talk about him for one more little moment? Because he's just such a brilliant little guy.
He's a great little guy. From Invercargill originally, down from Southland Way. Went to Christ College in Canterbury. Straight after that, boom, up to Waikato. Been there ever since.
Been a stalwart up there, still running the big, long mullet, which I love to see. But that try at the last minute just to seal the game.
He powered through like a forward. He shouldered someone. Oh, beautiful.
He was never going to pass the ball ever. When he got that ball, he was like, D-Mac scored.
D-Mac score now. He doesn't talk like that, eh? He talks like, yeah, I'm going to score a goal now. Yeah, I'm going to score a try. It's going to be great.
Is that how his inner monologue goes?
Yeah. He's still he's a kid, man. He's a kid at heart. That's why he's so light on his feet. That's why he can dodge around. That's why he does this cheeky smile before he kicks. And I was watching this. He takes a very short run up for all of his kicks. He belted across an absolute brilliant one from just under or just over halfway, basically on halfway. Couple of steps, boom, you're over.
Yeah, and he kicks like an absolute donkey as well. Like some of those kicks were from pretty far out, and he just peeled the paint off them. If that is a saying, I'm not 100% sure.
It sounded quite good. It means you just scraped it in, right?
I was going to be like, kicked it really hard.
Oh, okay. I feel like that's a missed metaphor.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Dane Coles played his 300th first-class match, which I think is
too many.
So many games. It's genuinely impressive when you think about it.
He's the same age as you, Tony Lyall. He is still. He's going to be an All Black this year. He's going to go to another World Cup.
Undeniably, unless something horrific happens, he'll be there, and absolutely just poking people in the eye and pulling on their leg.
Was it him that they asked all the players who was the roughest player in Super Rugby, and like 90% of people said Dane Coles. Keep me away from Dane Coles. Although, did you see this week? What game was it? There was footage of someone who someone at the bottom of the ruck who picked some grass off the field and fed it to the other player.
I haven't seen that, but I love it.
It's that kind of bullying that you can really get behind, eh?
Well, not bullying, Sam. That's just gamesmanship. Yeah,
feeding grass to another person. That's gamesmanship. Okay.
He's trying to give him his 5+ a day. He's just trying to help him make sure he eats his greens. You know, you're a parent. You know how hard it is to get kids to eat greens.
You got to force feed them grass.
Yeah, if you're on the ground on the bottom of a ruck,
being crushed by 9 men, you got to feed them grass.
Force feed them grass. That is great moves from whoever that was. You don't know who it is?
I can't remember who it was, but it was Australian guy. No,
I love it. Bit of a dog axe.
Anyway, it was brilliant.
Yep.
Google that, everyone.
And I just want to take it back as well and say, oh, here we go. James Hildebrand feeds opponent grass.
Hildebrand! That's where I got Hildebrand from. Yes.
Oh, this is beautiful scenes. I've just got up a video here, and you know it won't help any of you guys, but it's bloody great stuff. He's shoving grass into this guy's mouth. It's even better than I could have imagined. It is good stuff.
I think that guy's probably an absolute jerk.
Who, the guy putting grass in the guy's
old Hitlerbrand.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Hitlerbrand.
Happy birthday, Hitlerbrand.
Yeah. That's well, that's good stuff. I just want to as well with track. It seemed like I was being heavily critical of Roygaard before. I wasn't trying to be. He played exceptionally.
He's
and
great.
I feel like we've talked about him almost every week. And
so
that
too.
is the sign of a good player. I also thought Duplessis Karifi had a absolute blinder. He's a little nuggety character, isn't he? With great tats, got all sorts of crazy carry on.
He's great every week, and we should be talking about him every week.
Yeah, Devin Flanders as well. Firstly, love a guy called Devin.
Can I say he's the one that scored the try in the middle lane, and he sort of scored it onto his knees? Like,
yeah.
Look, often people dive in, they do like a cool Superman dive, score a try. It looks like it would hurt so much. He did the collapse on the ground onto his knees, busted both his knees, presumably. He'll be in cast for years after that.
Yeah,
but it was a pretty impressive try in the corner.
Classic little kids dive.
Yeah.
That you love to see. The same sort of move you do when you're just a wee tacker, sliding in on your knees and just absolutely. Well, you still score, don't you? Doesn't matter how you do it.
Still score. Doesn't matter.
You do the big swan dive. I do also think that must hurt, like doing the big dive.
Yeah.
But they seem to love it. They seem to consistently do it.
I'm thinking of Joe Rokothoko flying through the air. Oh, beautiful. I'm remembering Aaron Major scoring a try and doing a front flip in that game against the Waratahs in 2002. Oh.
Yeah, that was
beautiful.
The big fronty.
Also seems like rubbing it in a bit. I suppose they did win 96-19, so it's okay.
Yeah, that is a hearty win. But when you're starting to win by 96 points, you probably can just do front flips and no one can really argue with you.
Just do a cartwheel. That'd be cool. That's what I want to challenge. Guys, any players listening, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Please, can one of you do a cartwheel during the game? I'd love to see it. It would bring the viewers in.
Yeah, it certainly would. And also any players listening, sorry about calling Hilterbrand Hitlerbrand. Please don't pass that on to him. We don't need any more controversy in the Champagne Rugby podcast universe.
Also, I'd like to apologise as well. Thank you.
And the last game of the weekend, it was the Waratahs versus the Force. Waratahs.
Who cares?
Yeah, running out to be a 36-16 win. And I guess we all thought that was what was going to happen. They won at home in Sydney. And they're looking good, though, the Waratahs. They maybe got their season back on track after a ropey one. I say looking good. They're still in ninth, 7 games, 2 wins. So they're actually looking pretty shithouse.
But now's the time, if you're if you want to be right at this end of the season, doesn't matter what you've done in the first half, well, kind of, but they can turn it around from here. I don't think they can. But they can do it. I believe in them. I do not believe in them.
And when it comes to the ladder, you've got the Chiefs and the Brumbies. They're actually both drawn on 31 points, top of the table. I think the Brumbies they're doing a classic go under the radar here, where New Zealanders are just looking at New Zealand teams thinking, we're going to knock anyone off and it'll be all New Zealand final. But I think we need to get that thought out of our head and really take these Brumbies seriously, because I reckon they could upset a few apple carts in the way.
Have the Brumbies Have the Brumbies doing the thing that I forgot the Hurricanes had been doing, and just playing I guess mainly Australian team so far? They lost to the Crusaders. I remember that. Did they lose to the Blues? They did.
Yeah, I think they beat the Blues at the start of the season, right. Which was a shock to everyone. Yeah, they beat the Blues 25-20 in round 2. So they've already got a couple of scalps in their closet. Is that where you hang your scalps? I don't know.
Yeah, that would be.
Not much of a scalper.
Unless you have a dedicated scalp drawer, but you want to hang them up to dry them out. So you can re-wear them.
It'd be more of a scalp cupboard, wouldn't it? You'd need a couple of scalp hooks to put scalps on and to dry them out. And then once they're dry, maybe you could display them in a picture frame or something along those lines.
Flatten them out between some heavy books. There you go.
Yeah, it's always...
If anyone is a professional scalper, if they could please give us a call, let us know. That'd be great.
Yeah, and when you do flatten a scalp between some heavy books, just remember they're there. Like, it's always awkward when you forget about it. Then you go to read the book years later, you open it up and a scalp wafts out onto the ground. You go, I wondered where I put that. So always keep a notepad with the location of all your scalps. And on that lovely note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back in a moment with next week's games and the TAB Good Punt. All right, now it's time for the TAB Good Punt.
TAB, good punt, good punt, good punt, good punt.
Yeah, thanks for repeating what I just said. Beautifully produced sting, but unfortunately we went down last week, Sam, with our 13 plus.
We did not nail it.
No, so this time we're sticking to our knitting and we're going to back our own home teams, yours being the Crusaders, mine being
boys.
The Highlanders. Go the boys. And I think, they're both playing Australian teams. We want to see some high-scoring wins from our beautiful boys. So
we want them to absolutely dominate.
Yeah, so for the first score of the game, we're going to back a try in each game. So that's how the first points will be scored as a try across both games. The Highlanders,
hopefully to our own teams, but I think it goes for any team. So
yeah,
we're feeling pretty good.
To be honest, as long as the bet comes in, anyone can score, and it's paying a lovely amount. If it's paying $4.13, so if it comes back, we're going to get
that's $1 million, isn't it?
Back minus the $100 we put in, so we'll be getting $313 to stack into that account to give away to one of you
lovely listeners.
Good bugger listeners, or good punt, I guess you should say. That's probably
what a bunch
TAB would like me to
punts.
say. So we'll say that. So shot to the TAB. We'll put that on there, and I hope the Highlanders win. Let's go over the games. We'll start with why not? We'll start with the Highlanders. It's the last game being played on the weekend.
Let's play them backwards today. Let's just mix it up, right?
Yeah, Highlanders versus Force over there, and
we replay of a game we've seen before.
Yeah, they played in Invercargill. Now they're playing in the Invercargill of Australia, which is Perth. And I'm picking the Landers for that one, as I hope you are too, Sam.
Oh, of course, yes, absolutely. The Highlanders are playing fantastically at the moment. Unfortunately, they keep coming up against the other New Zealand teams who are also playing fantastically. But the Force, they're good, but they're no Highlanders.
Yeah, they really aren't no Highlanders, and hopefully...
they are no Highlanders.
They aren't no Highlanders.
No, you've double negatived there. You're saying they are the Highlanders, which they're not. They're a completely different team. They're from different places and everything.
They are no Highlanders. Hey, what about Thomas Umaga Jensen? What a guy. Jeez,
what a guy.
Rig. Yeah, he's one of the players who you like. This guy is the full package. I'm really, really rating him. So hopefully he has a field day.
Hopefully he scores a try straight away.
Maybe
he can be the guy.
He can be the guy. Then we slide backwards in time on Sunday, 5. Oh, it's
Saturday still. It's the Blues Waratahs, right?
Oh, yeah, it is Saturday. I've lost my marbles. Yeah. It's Saturday, Blues versus the Waratahs at home at Eden Park. Obviously, that's the game you can get along to the bar before and hang out with the ACC guys. And the Blues, you'd have to say, are going to be too strong for the absolute shithouse Tars.
An absolute walk in the park, this should be. A walk in the Eden Park, we'll say.
A walk in the Eden Park, and they'll both be wearing blue, so it'll be really hard for...
It'll be confusing. People will be passing the ball to each other. That's probably the Waratahs' game plan. We're going to wear a jersey that's the closest in colour to the team we're playing in the hope that they will pass the ball to us and we can sneakily go and score some tries.
Yeah, and as an aside, and sort of to that point, I did see that France, the national team of France, you may be familiar with them.
Heard of them?
They released their World Cup jerseys, and they're notoriously blue, but the colour is as black as a blue can ever be.
Oh, my God.
They're playing psychological mind games with the All Blacks. Obviously, the first game of the World Cup against the All Blacks to kick it off, and the home team wears their home shirt, which is their right. But the idea of them making their blue as black as possible, forcing us into an alternate strip, has really pissed me off.
This is war. This is Rainbow Warrior all over again.
It is Rainbow Warrior all over again, Sam. You're right. We're going to head back to the Muriwara Atoll. I don't know if that's is that where it all went down? I'm not sure, but
I don't know either.
Bunch of scallywags.
Wasn't it like here? Wasn't it like in a thing?
It was, but I think it was in New Zealand, but I think the atoll was where the testing was going, that the Rainbow Warrior was going. It was slid into history podcasting now, Sam.
Great. Well, something we both know very little about.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's right. The Bikini Atoll, I remember that because I remember thinking that they did all the tests there, and then Bikini Bottom, that's where SpongeBob lives. That testing made all those creatures. That's what I think.
I think that is a universally accepted. That's canon.
It is?
Yes, that's canon in the SpongeBob
you heard it here
world.
first, everyone. I nailed it.
You nailed it. I think we're both back in the Blues for that game, and pointing our middle fingers to France for their black jerseys.
Slipping back in time a bit more, we're into Melbourne.
We're going to Melbourne, and this is a game I'm going to try to head along to for maybe an hour or so. We'll see how we go down at Amy Park, the Rebels versus the Crusaders, and I'll be able to see that first play live in the flesh.
Fantastic. Hey, if you see Richie Mo'unga, say hi from me, okay?
I'll dap him up. I'll slap him a big old handshake.
Yeah,
and
lovely.
say thanks for listening. Appreciate your custom.
Very good.
But yeah, I think that the Crusaders will be far too strong, and I imagine them playing in an absolutely empty park apart from me, and I have to leave at halftime to go do my show anyway, so it's going to be grim times there.
I'm always wary about the Rebels. I think we've drawn with the Rebels twice, and they've overthrown us a couple of times, so I'm always a bit nervous about them. They've been a bit of our bogey team across the years. Maybe not so much in the last couple of years, but I'm still nervous about it.
Yeah, you reckon that they might?
I reckon it's only going to be 63-20 or something like that to the Crusaders.
Yeah, not the normal absolute hiding that they might have got in the past.
Not the 96-19 I've become accustomed to since that one game in 2002.
I wouldn't mind seeing 96-19.
It would be great to see. It was 63-0 at halftime. I remember that game, and I only remember it because that game was the same day as my sixth form ball. So I didn't see it live, and it was heartbreaking.
It's amazing that you remembered the 63 points based on your ball.
Yeah, that's right.
And the last game, Chiefs versus the Fijian and Drua. We finally got back there. That was what I read when we started the podcast, but I made an incorrect thing. I read the first game of week 9, and I just went. As I was reading it, I was thinking, this doesn't sound right. But that's the game. We finally got there. I'm finally right. I'm finally correct. And that is in Hamilton. And the Chiefs, they're sitting pretty on the top of that table, and I think they're probably going to stay there.
That's right. Yeah, the Drua are great. The Drua did upset the Crusaders, but that was in Fiji. I don't see them doing the same here. But hopefully maybe that means the Chiefs might underestimate them a little bit. Might let the Drua slip in a few sneaky tries and maybe give them a bit of a run. Maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a few cheeky tries in there. So we're basically just picking the New Zealand teams that we love and like.
We are so goddamn patriotic.
We are. I thought you were going to say biased, but patriotic's another word for it.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. But I think that we're going to put a bottle in this cork, Sam. So unless there's anything else you'd like to say to these beautiful bastards listening out there.
I just want to tell everyone that you guys are beautiful. I'm really fond of you all. Keep doing what you're doing, because sometimes life can be a bit of a struggle, and if you just really dig in there, accept the support of your friends and family, ask for help if you need it, but most importantly, keep listening to podcasts about rugby, especially this
podcasts
one. Podcasts in general. Just look after yourself, sit back for a bit, relax. Maybe while you're doing the dishes, chuck on the old potty, have a wee listen. You'll have a great time. Thanks so much for listening. And all the best to you and yours.
Yeah, and if you like the podcast, give it a share on the old social media, flick it around, and give us a follow, and you can see what we're up to. Buy tickets to the Comedy Festival, and long live the Highlanders.
Go the Crusaders!
Thanks, everybody.